Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Hope you enjoy yourself.
This is a story of a master and servant who chose to live as loyal friends through the thick and thin of their lives. In the arid village of Maherpa, where the sun rose like fire and the wind whispered through crumbling clay walls, lived an old water seller named Karim. He was known not for his wealth or his words, but for his simple kindness and a most unusual companion, a small grey donkey named Bohadou. Bohadou was no ordinary donkey. He had been with Karim since he was a wobbly-kneed foal, rescued from a trader who saw no value in a runt. Karim had paid with his own blanket and 2 clay pots to save him. From that day on, they were never apart. Each morning, just after sunrise, Karim would load his water jars onto Bohadou's back, and the two would journey across the golden dunes to a distant well. The sun would beat down on their backs, and the sand would sting their feet, but Bohadou never faltered. He walked slowly, surely, his little hooves pressing patient paths into the desert. The villagers had grown used to the sight, Karim with his sun-worn turban and long staff, and Bohadou trailing beside him with his soft, blinking eyes and lopsided ears. Children ran to greet them, not because they brought water, but because they brought a feeling of comfort, of rhythm, of something unchanging in a world that shifted like sand. Karim never used a whip, never raised his voice. He would pat Bohadou gently and say, "Slow and steady, my friend. That's how we cross deserts." The seasons passed. Karim aged. Bohadou, too, began to grey around the muzzle, though he had been grey all his life. Their walks grew slower, but they continued every day without fail. Until the storm. It struck without warning. A wall of dust rose from the west, devouring the horizon. Karim and Bohadou were halfway back from the well, their jars full, their backs already aching. The desert turned black with sand. The wind screamed. Karim pulled his scarf over his face, held onto Bohadou's reins, and shouted, "Keep walking." But the wind tore the words away. Then came the crash, a dune shifted beneath them, and Karim lost his footing. He tumbled hard, the sound of clay shattering echoing louder than the storm itself. Pain surged through his leg. When he tried to stand, he cried out. He was hurt, badly. "Bohadou," he gasped. The donkey turned at once, ears back against the shrieking wind. He approached slowly, bracing himself, nudging Karim with his nose. "Go," Karim whispered, barely audible. "Get help. I can't move." But Bohadou didn't go. He stood beside Karim, lowering himself into the sand. The wind howled on. The world disappeared behind a curtain of dust. Bohadou curled around Karim, shielding his body with his own. Time passed without measure. Night fell. Cold crept in. The storm eased. By the time the search party, alerted by the missing jars and frightened children, found them the next morning, Karim was barely conscious. But Bohadou was awake, alert, his sides heaving with exhaustion. He had not slept. He had not moved. They brought Karim home on a stretcher. Bohadou walked beside it the entire way, limping, eyes fixed on his master. The village was quiet that evening. No one could speak without tears when they saw the two of them, an old man with a broken leg, and a donkey who refused to leave his side. Karim recovered slowly. Bohadou stood watch every day at the door. When Karim finally stepped outside again, hobbling with a carved stick, he placed his hand on Bahadur's head and said only this: "I would have died, old friend. But you stayed close." Word spread. Visitors came from nearby towns, not for water, but to see the donkey who had waited through a storm. Bahadur was treated like family by the entire village. Children fed him mango peels. Women placed garlands around his neck during festivals. Someone painted Bahadur in bright red letters on a small wooden sign outside Karim's door. In the years that followed, Karim knew he could no longer make the daily walk to the well. So he built a small shaded platform outside his home and began selling cool drinks, herbs, and earthen pots instead. Bahadur no longer carried jars. Instead, he walked with the children of the village to the school and back, gently trotting beside them, letting toddlers hang on his neck or ride his back for short distances. He became everyone's donkey, yet he always returned to Karim before sunset. One spring, the village held a festival of gratitude. Under the flowering neem trees, elders, children, and travelers gathered. A new mural was painted on the school wall, a scene of the desert, a small grey donkey standing tall beside his fallen master, with these words in bold beneath it. Bahadur stood by. Karim, now white-haired and leaning on Bahadur for balance, stood smiling as the children clapped. That evening, as the sun dipped below the dunes, Karim and Bahadur took one more walk, just to the edge of the desert, where wildflowers had bloomed after the rain. There, Karim whispered, "You didn't just save my life, Bahadur. You gave it purpose." And Bahadur, with his one flopped ear and quiet eyes, simply leaned his head against Karim's chest. Moral of the story: loyalty is more than a moment of bravery, it is the everyday choosing to stay, to care, and to walk beside someone, even when the path is hard. Bahadur's devotion reminds us that true love often speaks in silence and is shown not through grand gestures, but in unwavering presence. Whether between two people or between a person and an animal, loyalty builds a bridge that time cannot wear down. In the end, it is this steady bond of trust, of patience, of standing by, that holds up the world.
Thanks for watching and enjoying our inspiring videos. If you like our stories, do pool in your likes and wonderful comments about your views. Also, don't forget to subscribe now for more interesting content. Have a nice day. Let's meet again soon. Take care.